Cheers! How you doing? Happy Homebrew Wednesday to everybody out there. Um, just want to touch base. This is my first Homebrew Wednesday video. It's not Wednesday. It's actually Friday. It's about 12:30. Well, it's probably Saturday morning actually now where I am. Um, I'm watching CraigTube right now. Craig's Cast on live TV. Check it out on Friday nights. Starts 10 p.m. Eastern time. If you're not already tuned in, but yeah. So coming to you live from my basement. This is the first Homebrew Wednesday video that I'll be doing. I'm going to try and hit every Wednesday now here moving forward. Like I said, it's Friday. But I just got my webcam. It's a nice little webcam picked up at Staples. It's got a built-in microphone, and we're gonna see how that goes for a while. So, drinking a homebrew. It's actually Muttons, Muttons. Who knows how you say it, but it's a Muttons English bitter, and I did a hop tea with this one. I actually did a side boil. For about. So I actually did a 60-minute boil with 2 gallons of water, some dried malt extract, and some hops. So I wanted to try and add some bitter to the beer. So did a side boil, like I said. I can't remember what the hops are. I have them written down somewhere in my book. But it's a good beer. It really came out. This is actually fermented in the fermented for 2 weeks, and then I bottled it, and it's been sitting in the bottle and conditioning now for a couple weeks. I want to say this is almost a month old in the bottles now, and tonight was actually one of the first nights that I've opened one and poured it and tasted it, and just was like, wow, there's really some strong hop flavor there. That's really what I was going for. I'm a traditional West Coast IPA fan. I like the hops. I like bitter beer. More bitter the better. And so I wanted to hop it up. It was one of my first beers. I'll give you a little backlog of my brewing history. I started a couple of years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, with 2 or 3 years with Mr. Beer, and I got a Mr. Beer kit. I did the initial beer that came with the kit, and then I probably did 4 or 5 others after that, and I had good success. I had good luck with the Mr. Beer. They're 2 gallon batches, 2.5 gallon batches. It came out well. It tasted good. I did a couple. It was we were heading into the winter. I did a couple amped up or a little more intricate brews. If you go to their website, you can get some recipes. They have a bunch of recipes on their website. So I did a winter ale was one of the last brews I did, and it had some nutmeg and some pumpkin spice and a bunch of different spices in it, and it was a good beer. It really came out really well, and I was like, wow, you can really make some decent beer with this little kit, So that was when I really decided, that I wanted to move forward, and what I did was just all wrong at that point. I started doing a lot of research on the internet, and I'm kind of an all or nothing type of guy, and I went right for all grain. I didn't even do a 5 gallon extract kit. I built a mash tun. I started assembling, all the pieces. I've got a turkey fryer over there, a deep fryer kit for outside. I got the burner, I got the pot, and I went right for all grain. I got the 5 gallon mash tun up there as well, and I failed miserably at all grain. The first couple batches. The first batch I did was decent. It came out. It was a kit. It was a Pilsner kit. It was really straightforward. The grains came all milled. I brewed that, and I think it just had one hop addition. It wasn't a big deal. I had borrowed someone's chiller, and it came out. It was a good beer. Really didn't blow my socks off because again I'm an IPA fan. I like hops. It was a Pilsner kit. It was a cheap kit at the time, and I didn't really like it that much. So I started trying to do a little bit more intricate all grain batches, and I failed miserably. And so I decided, I took some time off. I actually had a daughter. My wife and I had a daughter, and life got a little complicated. So I didn't brew, last year, maybe the last year and a half, and so I basically said, look, I want to get back into this. I've been watching a lot of CraigTube videos, um, watching a lot of Homebrew Wednesday videos, and wanted to get back into brewing. So I said, look, I'm going to take this summer, 2014 is going to be the rebirth of Sugarbrook Brewing. That's where I live on Sugarbrook Road, and so we I wanted to kind of just get back to basics more or less. Watching some of Craig's videos, he did some series on getting back to basics and basically, you know, getting the recipes right. They're extract kits, so be it. But they're extract kits, and I'm doing side boils. So I'm doing the extract kit, but I'm also doing a 60-minute side boil where I'm adding a bunch of hops. This bitter, I did a 60-minute side boil. I added, I took an ounce or 2 ounces of hops, and I divvied it up, and I did a 60-minute, a 30-minute, and a 15 or 10-minute addition. I can't remember. And so I'm doing my own little side boil, putting that in the fermenter, then adding the can kit to it, and then doing that whole thing. I've done that a couple times, and my most recent brew has been an IPA. I did a Cooper's IPA, and I actually brewed a Cooper's IPA and did a hop tea. I did the CraigTube hop tea video, and it didn't come out the way I wanted it. It was good, but it didn't come out the way I wanted it, and I think it's because the Cooper's kit, I think, is a little. It's not an American or a West Coast IPA. It's kind of a European IPA where I guess I would call it more of a not hoppy, more of a malty IPA. It was more. It had a lot of malt to it, and it didn't really have a lot of hop flavor. So what I did with this latest brew is I took the IPA, the Cooper's IPA kit. I did a side boil for 60 minutes, and I added an ounce of Magnum for 60 minutes. I added an ounce of Cascade for 30 minutes, and then at 15 minutes I added half an ounce of Citra and half an ounce of Amarillo. And then I actually just tonight dry hopped the beer 7 days into the ferment process with the other half an ounce of Citra and half an ounce of Amarillo. So we'll see how that comes out. That side boil was done with a pound of light malt extract, a pound of dark malt extract, and right at the end of the boil, right before I put it into the fermenter, I put in a pound and a half of dextrose. So we'll see. The ferment took off crazy, and the lid of the bucket almost blew off. I had to go on the 17 Brew Crew and ask some questions. Is what I was going to do. I mean, the lid of the bucket was bowed over. The fermenter, the airlock was going crazy. There was beer residue, all over the lid of the bucket when I woke up the next morning. It was really a pretty aggressive ferment, and so what I did was I took that out, and I put a blow off tube into a jug of sanitizer, and I kind of got that together, and let that go for a couple days, and then actually I let that go for a week, and then tonight I removed that. I opened the lid, I dry hopped, I put in the other half an ounce of Citra and half an ounce of Amarillo, and then put the lid back on and put the airlock on, a traditional airlock. So we'll see. I'm excited. I think that beer is going to be very good. It smells very good in the fermenter, and yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I think I kind of gave you guys a lot of information here over the last 11 minutes. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna cut that. This is gonna be my first homebrew video, homebrew Wednesday video. I'm a little tipsy. I've had a couple of the IPAs, the first Cooper's IPAs I brewed, and now I've got this English bitter going on. Interesting thing, I actually still use the Mr. Beer bottles. The plastic, they're plastic PET bottles, 1 liter bottles that I got with the Mr. Brew kit. And I'm actually in the process. I just missed out on some 5-gallon kegs on Craigslist. So kind of upset with the way that unfolded. I had been talking to a guy who was about an hour and a half away from me. He had 7 5-gallon kegs, and he was selling them for like $35 a piece. And I called him, I emailed him, and I said, hey, I'll take 2 of them for $50. And he said, done, yours, just come pick them up. And so I this was on like Tuesday, and so I emailed him on Wednesday. I said, I live about an hour and a half away. I want to come down on the weekend. What's a good time? Give me a date and a time. And I didn't hear from him, so I emailed him back on Thursday, and I said, I'm really interested in these kegs. I'll come down, even if you want more than well, he had emailed me back and said, I'll do 2 for $50. And so I said, awesome, what a deal. Even if I have to, do seals and whatever, that's a deal. And he didn't email me on Wednesday, so I emailed him on Thursday. And finally, Friday morning, he emails me and said, oh, I'm sorry, I sold everything. And I'm like, oh, man, I would have went down Thursday night, if I would have known he was going to sell them on me. I mean, he told me he'd give me 2 for $50. I thought that they were mine, that I'd have them, and it didn't turn out that way. So I'm going to go. We're at 13 and a half minutes. I don't want to bore you guys on my first video, but I hope you'll tune back in. This is Sugarbrook Brewing, and cheers, 17.